show you something as well in light of what we've been talking about with Delta Bravo and to help wrap your head around RPL. Was the information I provided earlier, was that a bit helpful for you for understanding it? Yeah. One of the things, as I said, if in doubt, err on the side of caution. And I've put something in the chat pod. Now, it's a different unit. This is one that I designed an RPL for a different unit, but I just want to show you how it sort of works, just an overview, because this will be helpful too when we get into validation. So I'm going to share my screen. I've put this document too in the chat pod. So one of the things that this is a unit here, a Cert 3 unit from work in a team. Okay, so, and this is talking about people working in a team. So as you can see, we've got our elements and our performance criteria, which are the standards. We also work off what are known as, okay, so like we've got to cover off all the performance criteria. Then when we get to foundation skills, we actually number them like this: FS1, FS2, FS3, FS4. So because as a result of doing this unit, they've got to be able to do all of these sorts of things. Does that make sense? So if you looked at Delta's unit, you'll probably find, she has to communicate with others. Well, we're not seeing that just from a bunch of documents, are we? So we're already telling that that's not there. But I thought I'd just show you what this sort of looks like. Then when we get down further in a unit, and they're all pretty much the same, we actually number the performance evidence. It's the skills that they've got to perform. So think about the driving a car part, and we actually number all of those too, because this is in Delta's unit, she would have had to have demonstrated all of that performance evidence. Does that make sense? Okay, then the knowledge evidence, we would be finding that from the documents that she provided to us, plus a competency conversation where we'd have a set of questions that will be covering off all of that criteria. And we'd probably get, for sufficiency too, we'd be getting a third-party report to confirm a lot of those areas. Does that make sense? Okay, so I've put that document in the chat. Now I wanted to show you, this is what an RPL tool looks like from start to finish. This is one that I did because at the moment I'm upgrading my diploma of vet. So I've actually just designed one a few weeks ago. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like. So at least it'll be a bit familiar. And this is for this same unit. So I'll share my screen. So this is my assessment, guys. Okay, so recognition of prior learning, the candidate guide. Okay, so when a person applies for recognition of prior learning, we normally have a set conversation. Am I recording this thing? Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I am. So we would normally have an initial discussion with the candidate to determine their suitability for RPL. Then if we thought that they were suitable to progress, okay, we would then provide them a candidate guide, okay? So if you think about this with Delta, and this is probably where it's been hard for you guys to wrap your heads around what it looks like and feels like. This is what it looks like. So Delta would normally, if she was applying for RPL, be given a document like this, a candidate guide. This is going to tell her what she needs to provide for us. Does that make sense? And this is all gets mapped. So when we get to validation, we'll be looking at all of that. So the first part there of it, this is what I've had to do. We've just got this information from training.gov, making sure that we just straight copy and paste that information for work in a team. Then when we get down a little bit further, okay, this is the documents that we need to provide. So you think about Delta and her documents. What I have done is I've gone through that unit, okay, and I have provided a list of the documents against all of that knowledge evidence of what she has to provide. So she doesn't have to provide everything, okay, but I'm giving her ideas of the things that she's got to do, okay? So see, if you see in that second box where I've got screenshots, calendars, digital reminders, she's going to provide a selection of those, okay? If she only provided me one document, it's not going to be sufficient. Is that making sense now? So she goes through and she submits all of this. Okay, that's good. So this is, and I'll put some suggestions and some ideas around. So she needs to provide documents for each of these areas in bold. So emails, work emails. Again, she can use the same evidence in different contexts as well. And this is what we would clarify when it came to a competency conversation. Okay, so this is just all the documents. So this is what we trawl through, okay? And as you can see, this is what we need to see. So I've put clear evidence of what we've provided. Now, you didn't have that in that little Delta zip file. Okay, which is probably why it made life quite hard, okay, but to get you an idea of what's involved. Then, so we've put an example of all the different sorts of things that she can provide. As you can see, there's quite a few documents there that she's got to provide. She doesn't have to provide everything, but you as the assessor will be deciding if it's sufficient, okay? Then, okay, we go through all of that. Okay, then we get to the third party report. So her supervisor would then, we would give her a form, which she would then send to her supervisor to complete, okay, which would have a range of questions on it, okay, to verify that she can perform all of that performance evidence. With me so far? So we've actually just got the three instruments in the one document. So this whole document is the full tool. Okay, then we get to, okay, the third party verification. This is the third party report. We'd find out what they are, what their position is, telephone number and email and all of that sort of stuff. So when you'll see here, I have put all these numbers like PE1, Performance Evidence 1. So I'm going to ask the supervisor questions around that to confirm what Delta's actually doing, if it was for Delta. Then I've got all the performance criteria that I've covered off, and also the foundation skill number 2. It's quite involved, isn't it? Don't worry, guys. This is a diploma level thing. So, but just to show you, this is how we make sure it's all valid. So basically, that will cover a third-party report. Can often help if we feel like we haven't got quite sufficient evidence. It's more a supplementary thing, like the stuff that Delta's going to provide you. If she's giving you certified transcripts, that's direct evidence. Okay, this other stuff is supplementary, which is a build on to confirm it further. Right, so this is the third party report, and you can just see I've put all the performance criteria, which foundation skills, which performance evidence. That's to show that she's performing it as well. Okay, so then I go through all here, then I put comments, a signature, and a date. Then we get to the third part, okay, you'll see the competency conversation. So this would be the thing that you, if you'd had the full tool for Delta, you would be doing a competency conversation. And we would use a competency conversation. We're not asking questions on all the criteria, but just on the things that we need to confirm or things that she can't show us by a document, you know? So we need to, or we need this additional evidence. So a competency conversation, okay, we're working in a team, we've got different questions. How do you comply? So we would put a competency conversation will be the same for every candidate. Okay, so we ask the same questions, and that ensures that our assessment process is fair, it's valid, and it measures what it's supposed to measure. Okay, so we would ask the same questions of every candidate. Now, if, for instance, as we knew that Delta's evidence was pretty horrid, wasn't it? As we've said now, we've had a good look at it. It was lots and lots of gaps. Okay, sometimes, okay, we may have to add some additional questions, okay, to try and draw that evidence from the candidate. So we would then note that on that assessment instrument. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So that's essentially what it sort of looks like in terms of the big picture. Okay. Is everyone feeling more comfortable with RPL now? A bit more in the space. It does take a while to wrap your head around. But as you can see from that assessment that I've done there for RPL, okay, every bit as rigorous as if you were doing the assessment yourself. Okay. So a word to the wise, RPL is not a shortcut. Okay. Repeat that again. RPL is not a shortcut. Okay. So what we're going to move on to now, which is what you've all been waiting for, is the final part, which is the last assessment, which is Appendix Part 4. I'll share my screen now and we'll start and we'll work onto that. Okay, now for this, okay, this should be quite a nice one for you, okay, to start working on. It's assess competence in a synchronous environment, okay? So when we're doing assessing competence in a synchronous environment, we need to make sure our big key thing to watch, and this is your key thing to watch because I'll be watching this on the videos as well. Make sure that you're asking the same questions of all your candidates and they all have an opportunity to answer. Okay, that's something that's very important. Okay, so what you're going to be doing for this, okay, so student name, student number. Okay, we have got our 3 candidates again. Okay, we've got Ella, we've got Alex, and we've got Delta. Okay, now all they're going to do is for the transport and logistics, okay, unit, okay, but they are only going to be doing assessment event 2. Okay, so only assessment event 2. All right. Questions? Okay, so far? Yeah, okay. So you've got your zip folder again. So I've just got Appendix 4 open, okay? And yeah, this is it here. So, and you've got your solid RTO assessment policy. Okay. Okay, it's been agreed in consultation with candidate Delta Bravo that assessment for TLIE will take place in a synchronous environment in accordance with reasonable adjustments. Okay, so that's what we already have determined her reasonable adjustments, and that was in your Part 2 assessment, which you've already submitted and I've marked. Okay, so this part here, task 1, plan and prepare to conduct assessment. Okay, what you're going to do, okay, is you're going to open up that, read the marking guide, check the assessor tasks, and put all of those tasks in order to be completed. So you as the assessor, you're preparing to assess your 3 candidates. So go and have a look at the marking guide. And then you've got to make a list in order. What do I do first? What do I do next? What do I do after that? And just give them priority number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does that make sense? Okay. So what we're going to do so we don't get too confused, I'm going to pause the recording now, okay? And I'm going to give you about 20 minutes to start and get that marking guide. Now, if you've got Appendix 5, okay, you'll find it in the zip folder for the assessment tool for TLIE 1003. Give you about 20 minutes now just to start making some notes for the assessor tasks and what you need to do. Is everyone with me for that? Then at 7, we'll then move on to the next part. You can stay in the main room if you like, or you can go to a breakout room, whichever you're comfortable with, and we'll start that next bit at 7.